everyone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Call roll on.
Mr. Trax?
Here.
Mr. Lawson?
Here.
Ms. Dupree?
Here.
Mr. is...
She's on her way. Proof of publication.
Has been confirmed.
Okay. Well, a moment of prayer.
Let's pray, shall we? Our Father, Lord God, we come before you, Lord. We just thank you for our township. Thank you for Union Township. Thank you for its residents. Lord, we thank you for our Board of Supervisors. We thank you for their diligence, for their time that they put into this community, and to working hard for all of us as we work together. Lord, we pray your peace upon this meeting. We just ask that you just allow them to be able to conduct business in a mindful way, Lord. So we thank you for this time that we have tonight, and just ask that you put your hand upon those traveling still to get here with the weather. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pastor.
Good. Turn the meeting over to Heather.
Thank you so much. Sorry for the late. All right, moving on to public comment.
Bernie? Here.
Bernie Spear, 5106 Chevy Chase Drive. I'm here because of the unaffordability of keeping serums, and that's been a topic for the last several meetings. I'm in favor of keeping serums, and I'd like to address the financial possibilities for us to be able to keep them with our provider. This municipality has historically employed a township secretary treasurer. That employees have the following responsibilities: the day-to-day operation of a second-class township, including receiving and distributing daily correspondence, being the liaison between the taxpayers and the Board of Supervisors, and executing any tasks directed by the board. Attendance at all board meetings and being responsible for transcribing all minutes of those meetings. Preparing financial statements for all supervisors meeting, using QuickBooks, process payroll bi-weekly for all employees, including but not limited to preparing W-2s, 1099s, W-3s, and preparing all quarterly reports, including earned income tax transmissions on behalf of employees. Prior to bi-monthly meetings, process all accounts payable for review and approval at the meeting, and then forwarding the payments to the vendors. Reconciling all bank statements, preparing all documents for various audits, various grant applications, all required state reports, including AG 385s, etc. Develop and manage the yearly budget, and honor right-to-know requests. All prior secretary treasurers performed these duties. When Mr. Lawson was elected to the board, he was appointed the treasurer. The secretary treasurer position became the secretary assistant treasurer position. However, Mr. Lawson never physically performed the tasks of the treasurer, and the assistant treasurer continued to perform the tasks of the treasurer. When the last secretary assistant treasurer, at the pay rate of $22.50 an hour, requested a treasurer be appointed to assist her, inasmuch as she accepted the position as secretary, Mr. Lawson explained that her pay rate would be reduced in order for them to hire another employee. When a new hire of secretary assistant treasurer was hired, that employee was hired at, I believe, $24 an hour, and we then contracted with CPA firm to perform the treasurer duties at an additional cost of $47,000 a year. That position has since been increased to $28 an hour. The secretary assistant treasurer position now costs the taxpayers with overtime approximately $110,000 a year plus benefits. The agenda indicates additional overtime is being considered in order to accommodate requests for the duly elected supervisor. All supervisors are entitled to information in order to do their job effectively. This seems to be a ploy to delay providing this information. This is generally routine in most organizations, whether they are government or private. I believe that taxpayers are entitled to review the job descriptions for all positions in this township. The changes this board made to the position of Secretary Treasurer is creating a financial burden and hindering the health and safety of the taxpayers. This is not a personal issue with any employee in this township. This is the actions the board has taken that is costing us the possibility of losing our ambulance service.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Maureen,
What I want to discuss is not on your agenda, so I
Can
don't
we-
know if you want me to wait till the end.
If you wouldn't mind.
Okay. no
Thank
problem.
you so much.
Linda Evans, form.
Linda Evans Bourne, 22 Parkview Drive, Finleyville, Pennsylvania. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. My public comment is on agenda item 20, and I will try to be as quick as I can, as there was a complaint about I took too long at the last meeting. I apologize if I offended anyone. I certainly did not set out to do that. Agenda item 20, which is approve, deny, continuing to use Serums as the main EMS provider in Union Township, contingent upon mutually agreeable contract terms to be presented by Serums. I don't believe that this item should be on the agenda. I believe the reason that it is on the agenda is to stop the public from emailing, calling, signing a petition, and asking this board, why are they considering another EMS service? There is no contract to look at this time, and what this township wants is this board to stop looking for an alternative EMS provider. And that is what should be on the agenda, to deny First Response Medical. It was on the agenda last meeting. Ms. Dupree made a motion for it, and it failed for a lack of a second. And I want to also comment on item number 21, approve, deny the March, April, May 22 amounts that is owed to Serums, which was this board's choice to break it down monthly rather than to give them one total $5 per person per year. That was your choice to do that. You are behind on March, April, and May, and we are at the end of June. And I don't believe that you will pay that bill because it's not on tonight's bill pay. It's absolutely not on here. You have no intention in paying that. I'm sure of that. I'll be surprised if you do vote to pay it, because it is not on the bill pay. Another item I want to address is, I did a little homework from mid-2017 till the third quarter of January 2021. We have spent $1,047,736 tax dollars on engineering, Harshman CE Group. Almost $1.1 million of our tax dollars since mid-2017 through the third quarter of last year. And it is all here in budgets. It can be tracked. These are documents that are real. This is where money is going, which is absolutely, it is just unimaginable. In 2016, our budget for the year for our engineer was $35,000, to put that into perspective for you, where this has gone. The same time period, 2017, mid-2017, when they changed solicitor to the third quarter of 2021, $838,428 of our tax dollars for the solicitor. To put that in perspective, 2016, it was $55,000 was budgeted for the solicitor. It is absolutely unacceptable. The budgeting for that period of time was $1.815 million. We're about 1.9 right now. How is that possible? How is that possible? How are you being fiduciary responsible with our tax dollars? This is absolutely outrageous. People should be irate And we have discussion after discussion about $5 a head for an ambulance service, which is under $30,000 a year, but yet this is what we are paying in our tax dollars. This is outrageous, and people are outraged. And I also want to comment on another agenda item quickly. I'm trying to be respectful and quick. It is, I believe it's a discussion here about protocol for public comment. Our First Amendment right says that we have freedom of speech and freedom of expression, and we can challenge our local government when we feel that you're not doing your due diligence of what the people's tax dollars are meant for. And I believe that if someone is standing at this podium and they are being respectful, but they are informing the public about where their tax dollars is going, and they are speaking on important issues such as EMS services, that this board should be lenient and allow them to speak. I also want to go on to the legal fees quickly. Here is page after page from the Washington County Court, Common Pleas. 3 lawsuits since 2017. This is since 2017. 3 on this page. Baylog versus Union Township, Opperman versus Union Township, Opperman versus Union Township, Varna versus Union Township, Tomco versus Union Township, Tomco versus Union Township, Union versus Quaker, Union versus Varna, Union versus Polick. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on, page after page. There's 30 lawsuits here since 2018. Something's wrong, and it's not on this side of the table. This has got to stop. This is outrageous. I can't even believe that this is happening in my community. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Okay, thank you very much. Next public comment, please.
That's it.
Okay.
Kevin Dare, 6187 Raleigh. My public comment also has to do with public comment and the reducing it down to 4 minutes. I think 4 minutes is a reasonable amount of time to get your message across. And I don't think it should be deviated from for certain people. I think at 4 minutes, that needs to be the end of the public comment. I stood at this podium when Ms. Evans was the chairman. During one public comment, I was discussing a very important issue to the township. Flooding, along 88. At 4 minutes, Ms. Evans interrupted me and told me my 4 minutes were up. Sit down. You know what I did? Respectfully sat down. That's what needs to happen. These are the rules of the meetings. Rules mean something. We all know that. We have to follow the rules. You can't disrupt. The meeting has to go on. This is a legal meeting. It's a public meeting. It was advertised. It's a legal gathering of supervisors to conduct township business. It doesn't need to be distracted. It doesn't need to be distracted by people in the audience. And if 4 minutes is the thing that you guys agree on for the public comment, I don't think it should be deviated for anybody. It never was in the past, as Ms. Evans surely let me know when I was talking about flooding on Route 88. Thank you.
Any more public comments? Okay, great. Then we can move forward to announce executive sessions, which there were none. Department reports, solicitor report. Attorney Scott, do you have anything?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Nothing to report, but as agenda items come up, I will report on what's necessary.
Perfect. Any questions for Attorney Scott, Board? Okay, Treasurer's report, Mr. Lawson?
I don't have any new updates.
Chairman's report, myself, no, I have no updates for this evening. Project Manager report is in everyone's packet. Anybody have any thoughts or questions on the Project Manager report? Okay, Advent, we have that report as well. And moving on to C, unfinished business. We'll continue to leave this, these vacancies. I think most of these have been on since January of the new year, so we're heading into 6 months. If anybody is interested, please see the office staff for any of these positions. And we're moving into action items D. Again, if I'm going too fast, please stop me. So before we move into action items, I wanted to alert the board that I noticed a couple errors on the minute list here. And I did call Bobby today. Items 4, 5, and 6 should be removed from this list. And the reason being is items 5 and 6 were already approved at the March 23rd meeting. So the board did fully approve those. And number 4 was just an error on administration's part, putting February 11th in there. There was no meeting on February 11th. So just for clarification purposes, I wanted to get the board's opinion and Attorney Scott's. I did call PSATs today and I asked them, how do we officially remove items and legally remove them? And I explained the situation, and they advised that because this is not, it's not even considered de minimis under Act 65, it is just removing something. You're not adding anything to the agenda. They thought it would be appropriate when we get to those items to just, consider removing these specific items 4, 5, and 6. So I wanted to let the board know about that, and if anyone has any comments on that, please.
Do we have to make a motion to remove them?
Yes.
Thank you.
I would also like to mention that number 1 was already approved on March 23rd.
Number 1, Bobby, would you?
That's the one, Michelle, that you gave me all the handwritten corrections, and you wanted it verbatim on, and the motion was rescinded, and I haven't done it yet. I have the comments, you gave me 2 sets of minutes with corrections on it. One was the 26th, and the other one was February 9th.
Pretty sure if you go back, they did it anyway. They motioned to approve it anyway, as per my revisions.
Bobby, maybe you could double check or maybe Colin, is that something you could probably check while we're moving forward?
Do you want me to do it right now?
Well, I don't want to interrupt you, but
Yeah,
I'm
that's-
pretty certain that was rescinded, that motion was rescinded. And it was, I know Supervisor Dupree had concerns that she wanted things more accurately spelled out, so the board made a motion to rescind, and then the board made a motion, I believe it was me that made the motion to reconduct the meeting minutes verbatim.
No. So what I said was that either to take out all of that bulk, but if you choose to quote people, quote them correctly. I did not want anything verbatim. I really wanted them to be action items and motions only, but there was misquotes in there. And I wanted them corrected if you chose to keep them in there.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. And so what the board did was we rescinded the original motion because we understood that Ms. Dupree wanted to make changes, and then the only way I made the motion, I thought to make the motion to say for the secretary to type them verbatim, word for word, that would solve the problem. And I think a majority of the board voted to do that. But if you want to double check that before we proceed. Bobby, do you have them done?
No, I don't.
Okay, so
That's
that-
why it's on here like that.
Yeah, I don't think they are done, but we can wait, we can take a brief moment if you want to double check. Ms. Dupree?
So, the minutes from March 23rd say motion to approve minutes from January 26th. Mr. Dupree suggested some changes, misquotes, add Mr. Dustin's comments and not foreshortening. And the motion approved as far as the March 23rd meeting minutes says roll call, Dare, yes, Trax, yes, Lawson, yes, Eskin, yes, Dupree, yes. But it says motion to approve on these minutes.
Does it say after that motion, is there another motion?
So it does say to rescind, but then after that, it goes back into motion to approve January 26th as per being typed verbatim, and you guys approved that.
Yes.
So they've been approved.
No, well, we
So it's
motioned,
approved, rescinded, and then approved again.
yes, correct. So we approved for Ms. Singer to retype them verbatim. That's-
Motion to approve the minutes, January 26th, with comments being typed as Ms. Dupree wishes. So the motion was to approve the minutes.
But they weren't retyped yet.
So was the motion to retype minutes, or was the motion to approve the minutes based on them being typed with the corrections?
I think it was a motion to retype the minutes, from what I understand
Okay,
from what they're
because-
trying to say is, I think it was a motion to retype them to make it more
Okay,
clear.
but this clearly says, motion to approve the minutes for January 26th, with comments being typed as Ms. Dupree wishes. So the
Does it
motion
say
looks like you
verbatim?
approved them.
Is it, could you read it in its full?
Motion to approve the meeting minutes from January 26th, Board of Supervisors public meeting minutes with comments being typed verbatim as Mrs. Dupree wishes.
Yes.
Which is not what I wish, but nonetheless, it says motion to approve meeting minutes for January 26th.
I think the intent was for Ms. Singer to
Okay, we're gonna-
retype them and, retype them as you wished, and that was my understanding, but.
So, okay, so the minutes are not done. Bobby, you have that on your list. That should take you, what, 2 days to do that verbatim, or? to-
Again,
like a
wasn't
stenographer?
asking for it to be verbatim. Wasn't asking for meeting minutes to be verbatim. I would like.
But I have to listen to the entire tape to get any comments that were made. I have to get them correct. So I've got to listen to the entire tape.
Robert's Rules of Order suggests that the minutes only have motions, actions, addendums to the motions, and roll call votes. The comments don't need to be in there at all. My suggestion was that if the board chooses to adopt, I would not adopt the meeting minutes with misquotes in it. I would prefer they're not in there at all.
Well, that's what I mean. I have to listen to the entire tape to get the quotes correct. If you want them in there correctly, I have to listen to the entire tape.
Okay, so here's a possible solution. I actually don't know what the solution is, because any solution right now would negate the agenda that's been posted online, and
You could approve them as is, as they are right now, as they're typed, if that's something that you would be interested in.
okay. Well, why don't we proceed with this action item, and then when we get to the discussion part, we can look at that. Does that sound suitable to the board? We can simply just proceed? Okay, so item number 1, approve deny meeting minutes from January 26, 2022.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, I will second the motion to approve the meeting minutes from January 26, 2022. So any discussion on that? I haven't looked at them since, I think it was February, when we attempted to approve these in February. So but I'm assuming, I saw it in the minutes that I approved it at the last point, at the last time, so I believe they're true and correct from what I voted on several months ago. But I know there's concerns on wording, so I don't know what we can do about that. discussion? I don't want to rush ahead, and I truly want to make sure we solve this problem, or this issue to Mr. Creed, to your satisfaction, truly. And that was actually my intention in February when I motioned.
Take the roll call.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Dare,
Yes.
Mr. Lawson,
Yes.
Mr. Creed,
No, I do not approve the layout or the content.
Mr. Trax.
Yes.
Okay, item number 2, approve, deny meeting minutes from the February 3rd, 2022.
I'll make a motion to approve the February 3rd, 2022 meeting minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Lawson motioned and Mr. Trax second to approve meeting minutes of February 3rd, 2022. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Trax,
Yes.
Ms. Dare,
I have to abstain because I was not there.
Mr. Lawson,
Yes.
Mr. Creed,
No,
Item 3, approve, deny meeting minutes from February 9th, 2022.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of February 9th, 2022.
I'll second.
Supervisor Lawson motion, Supervisor Trax second. Is there any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Creed,
no,
Mr. Trax,
Yes.
Ms. Dare,
Yes.
Mr. Lawson,
Yes.
Okay, item number 4. I would like to make a motion to remove this item number 4 from the agenda due to the fact that there are no minutes from February 11th, 2022.
I'll second the motion to have them removed.
Okay, Supervisor Dare motion, Supervisor Lawson second. Is there any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Trax,
Yes.
Mr. Lawson,
Yes.
Mr. Creed,
yes,
Ms. Dare,
Yes. Item number 5, motion to remove item number 5, minutes from February 23rd, 2022, due to the fact that they were approved at the March 23rd, 2022 meeting. It's a motion to approve removing them.
I'll second.
So Dare motion, Trax seconded. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Lawson,
Yes.
Mr. Creed,
yes,
Mr. Trax,
Yes.
Ms. Dare,
Yes. Item 6, motion to, approve, deny meeting minutes of March 9th, 2022. I'd like to make a motion to remove item number 6, which is these minutes from March 9th, 2022 have been approved on March 23rd of 2022.
I'll make a motion to,
I motion.
I'm sorry, I'll second that.
Okay, so Dare motion, Lawson second, to remove the March 9th, 2022 meetings, item number 6 from the agenda. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Dare,
Yes.
Mr. Lawson,
Yes.
Mr. Creed,
yes,
Mr. Trax,
Yes.
Item 7, approve, deny meeting minutes from March 23rd, 2022.
I'll make a motion to approve the March 23rd, 2022 minutes.
I'll second.
These minutes have to be tabled as well because that is March 23rd. So, Bobby, is that correct? Are March 23rds approved?
no,
Okay, you know what, then okay, understood. I'm sorry, I got a little confused here. So Supervisor Lawson motioned, Trax seconded. Is there any discussion?
I would like to point out that those minutes have Mr. Trax voting on things before he enters the meeting. Mr. Trax missed the first 58 minutes of that meeting, and he's voting on meeting minutes at the beginning of that meeting in the minutes.
Okay, so Bobby, do you want to relook at that?
Yeah,
Okay, so based on Supervisor Dupree's comments, would the board want to consider tabling this so Bobby can relook at those?
Sure.
Okay. So, Mr. Lawson, do you want to rescind your motion to approve?
No.
Okay. Okay, then any other discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Trax,
Okay. If I miss 58 minutes there, what?
Then, I mean, you could either abstain or you could vote no, whatever you.
Yes.
No, it's to, we didn't rescind the motion, it's to approve the minutes.
So you don't have to approve them, you could do
Right.
it, you could vote any way you want.
Right.
I,
What's the,
It does represent you voting before you got there, just to let you know.
yeah. I'll abstain.
Ms. Deb,
I'd like to abstain based on wanting a chance for you to review the minutes and present them back to the board.
Mr. Lawson,
My vote's yes.
Ms. Dupree,
No.
Okay, item number 8, approve deny meeting minutes from April 13th, 2022. I'd like to make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion to approve the minutes for April 13th, 2022.
Okay, Supervisor Dare motion, Lawson seconded. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Dupree,
I have to abstain, I left the meeting 1 hour before it ended.
Mr. Trax,
Yes.
Ms. Dare,
Yes.
Mr. Lawson,
Yes.
Item number 9, approve deny meeting minutes from April 27th, 2022. I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from April 27th, 2022.
I'll second the motion for approving minutes for April 27th, 2022.
Okay, motion by Dare, seconded by Lawson. Is there any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Dupree,
No, I do not agree with the format of the content.
Mr. Trax,
Yes.
Ms. Dare,
Yes.
Mr. Lawson,
Yes.
Item number 10, approve deny meeting minutes from May 11th, 2022. I'd like to make a motion to approve those minutes from May 11th, 2022.
Second.
Okay, Dare motion, Track seconded. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Lawson,
Yes.
Ms. Dupree,
No, same reason.
Mr. Trax,
Yes.
Ms. Dare,
Yes. Item number 11, approve deny meeting minutes from May 13th, 2022. And again, this was an emergency meeting the board held.
Make a motion to approve the emergency meeting minutes for May 13th, 2022.
Second.
Okay, Supervisor Lawson, motion, Track seconded. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Dare,
I have to abstain, I was not at that meeting.
Mr. Lawson,
Yes.
Ms. Dupree,
Yes.
Mr. Trax,
Yes.
Okay, item 12, approve deny meeting minutes from the May 18th, 2022 special meeting. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the May 18th, 2022 special meeting.
I'll second the motion for the special meeting minutes for May 18th, 2022.
Ready. Dare motion, Lawson second. Is there any discussion?
Was this the EMS or the emergency meeting about that? Because Mr. Lawson wasn't there.
have your meeting minutes with you? No?
No. Help me understand this. We're reading minutes that the board discussed and agreed on. Why is it not appropriate for anyone to agree with these?
It's what the solicitor officer recommends.
We haven't agreed on them yet. So we're doing
If you
that.
weren't present, then, right. I mean, if you read them, that's fine, but if you weren't present at the meeting.
I
Okay.
misunderstood that. This is what I understand that happened.
Alrighty, so, would anybody like to rescind that motion?
I'd like to rescind the motion on approving the special meeting minutes, May 18th, 2022.
Okay, I'll second that, to rescind these meeting minutes. Okay, any discussion? Roll call vote?
Mr. Trax?
Yes.
Ms. Dare?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Abstain.
Mr. Prig?
Yes.
Okay, item 12, approve, deny, meeting minutes from May 18th, 2022. Special meeting, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, Dare motion, Trax second, any discussion?
I missed 50% of the meeting. It was open without a quorum. So I have to abstain.
Okay, roll call please?
Mr. Trax?
Yes.
Ms. Dare?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Abstain.
Mr. Prig?
Abstain.
Okay, 13, approve, deny meeting minutes from, I think this is redundant, Bobby, on here?
No, there's
Oh, but there was a 2, that was right, there was 2 that day. Apologies. Okay, so 13, approve, deny meeting minutes from May 18th, the EMS workshop, May 18th of 2022. I'd like to make a motion to approve those minutes. Any seconds?
I'll second.
You don't think you were there?
Everyone at the end of?
I don't think. If I'm correct, I think it was me and Mr. Brady.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, any seconds? Okay, motion dies. Item 14, approve, deny meeting minutes from the May 25th, 2022. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve those meeting minutes from May 25th, 2022.
I'll second the motion to approve May 25th, 2022 meeting minutes.
Okay, Dare motions, Lawson seconds. Any discussion? If no one else has discussion, I had one change on those minutes, Bobby, and to the board. In the chairman's report, I think the wording was a little confusing. I would like it to say something more clear that I had reported that there was a claim from an audience member that the township did not advertise the EMS workshop prior to the meeting that we held. And the staff checked into it, and that was untrue, and we did produce the advertisements, and it was done properly. And I think that didn't come across in that one section of the meeting minutes, and I just would like that one change to make that a little more clearer. Just one with a few words. That was my only change. Okay. Anybody else have any comments on those minutes? Okay, roll call vote.
Mr. Prig?
Wait, I do have a comment on those. So action item number 1, was not, so it says approve or deny removing action item D4 from the April 13th meeting, which was requested, that's not, that motion was not made. Mr. Sweat suggested that motion be made, but myself and Ms. Dare did not agree with that, so it was never made. So action item number 1 which is to motion to remove an action item from the April 13th meeting. We never took a vote on that.
Okay, so, Bobby, maybe we can, based on Supervisor Dupree's.
Table and then.
Okay. Anybody else have comments on that? Okay, so I'd like to make a motion, to rescind approving the meeting minutes for May 25th due to some concerns on the wording.
I'll second that motion to rescind May 25th, 2022 minutes.
Okay, motion by Dare, seconded by Lawson. Any discussions? Okay, roll call vote?
Mr. Trax?
Yes.
Ms. Dare?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Ms. Dupree?
Yes.
Okay, motion to table the meeting minutes from May 25th, 2022 till office staff confirms some of the action items.
I'll second the motion to table the minutes from May 25th until the office corrects a couple of items.
Okay, Dare motion, Lawson second. Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Trax?
Yes.
Ms. Dare?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Ms. Dupree?
Yes.
Okay, item 15, approve deny meeting minutes from June 8th, 2022.
I have a motion to approve June 8th, 2022 minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, Lawson motions, Trax seconds to approve meeting minutes from June 8th. Is there any discussion? I had one note here for the office. It was in the end of the minutes. It had motion to approve, deny, Ms. Dupree as signatory, and it didn't specify whether it was an approve or deny. I'm pretty sure in my recollection it was approved, but it wasn't specified. If we could just clear that up for the minutes, that would be the only change that I saw. Any other discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Ms. Dupree?
No.
Mr. Trax?
Yes.
Ms. Dare?
Yes. Okay, moving on to item number 16, approve, deny execution of a developer's agreement between Union Township and Sea Mountain Ventures of Pennsylvania LLC for the tractor supply located on State Route 88.
I motion that we table this item, being that I got that at after 2 o'clock today. Assuming you guys did too. I haven't had a chance to look at it.
Okay. Ms. Dupree motions for a table. Okay, any seconds? Okay, motion dies. I'd like to make a motion to approve the execution of the developer's agreement between Union Township and Sea Mountain Ventures of PA LLC for the tractor supply located on State Route 88.
I'll second the motion for Sea Mountain Ventures LLC, Route 88.
Okay, motion by Dare, seconded by Lawson. Is there any discussion? Sean, I read through that. It was lengthy. I know that you had worked on that with Solicitor Sweat's office. Could you add anything? I mean, is this a standard developer's agreement? Maybe Sarah could speak to that.
Yeah, it's a standard developer's agreement. Since there's not any public improvements, there's a couple areas in the agreement that just aren't applicable. But generally, it's, you know, it requires the bonding to be put in place. It indemnifies the township if any issues occur. It allows inspections as need be. So it's standard agreement. There's just a chunk of text in it that's just not applicable since there is no public improvements.
Okay, so that was the redacted text?
Yeah, and there's a few other sections that aren't striked out that also aren't applicable.
Okay. Do you have any comments?
Attorney Crooney worked on this agreement in my office, and from what I saw and understood, it's a very, very standard developer's agreement that's been utilized by this township with other developers and other improvements. And as Sean stated, there's no public improvements as well, so.
I have a question for either Sweatlaw or Sean. Is there a reason that we couldn't be provided that for today, this afternoon? Was there a holdup that was the reason that we couldn't be provided?
I think typically when I ask Bobby to put something on the agenda, I sent her attachments, and in this case, the attachments got sent to me because they were scanned in, and I responded to the email. I said, please add these to the agenda. So I think there's just a little confusion between how our normal protocol if I had something to the agenda. So.
We had a concern on the line of credit putting up for instead of the bond. I talked to Mr. Crooney from Sweat Law Office, and he assured me that the verbiage and the language is going to be the same as what Paul Scarmazzi supplied for a line of credit. So that if there's a problem, you can attach it. I mean, a line of credit is good, but you have to have the right wording to get that money, and they're aware of that. That's the only concern I have with this.
Yeah, Rick, Supervisor Lawson, they did submit a bond, so the bond for that $255,000, the township has that, where the township's named as the obligee, so.
Any other discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please. I'm sorry, yeah, we motioned, right? Motion and second?
Yeah.
Who seconded that?
Rick.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Trax?
Yes.
Ms. Jeff?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. Tree?
No.
Item number 17, approve, deny execution of the O&M agreement for stormwater management best practices between Union Township and Sea Mountain Ventures of PA LLC for the tractor supply located on State Route 88.
I'd like a motion to approve the O&M agreement for the stormwater for the Sea Mountain Ventures PA on Route 88 tractor supply.
Okay, I will second that motion to approve the execution of the O&M agreement for stormwater management best practices between Union Township and Sea Mountain Ventures of PA LLC for the tractor supply located on State Route 88. So Lawson motion, Dare second. Is there any discussion?
I would like, once again, to voice my objection to the fact that I got a phone call today after around 2 o'clock when this was notarized and done on June 10th. There's just, I did not have an adequate amount of time to review this stuff.
Okay, Sean, may I ask you, as far as standard stormwater management practice, could you tell me a little bit about this? I've seen these before in the township, but maybe
It's
you
kind
can.
of off topic to the discussion about normal stormwater management practices. So point of order.
Again, I've seen these O&M agreements for stormwater management practices in Union Township, and this one, I wondered if you could just confirm this is a standard operation and maintenance agreement.
That's correct. Typically, the differences are the exhibits are attached to it. So, Exhibit A in this agreement is their PCSM plan, the post-construction stormwater management. Basically, it is a way to locate what the pond is, where it is, and then Exhibit B is their MPDS approval. Beyond that, it's a standard agreement. I believe it's based off of standard countywide agreement as well.
So you're saying there's attachments to what I got? I didn't get any attachments at all.
Nice.
The,
2 pages and a signature page. So you're saying there's attachments to this?
there's an Exhibit A and Exhibit B.
I didn't get those.
Sean, would you want to pass those up to the table, to the front table? Do you have the exhibits with you, or does Sarah have them with you?
Sure, they're on the copy for you all to execute. Bobby, is that at the, I can print out 20 of them if that's helpful.
These were just given to me, what time, Sean, like 4 o'clock?
These are documents you've seen before. I mean, they were part of the approval of the Tractor Supply, and it's just a general MPDS approval letter, so.
Sarah, can I had a question for you too. It was mentioned that they can come in signed by the person who's applying for these, that I guess I'm sure the Tractor Supply representatives. Is this because they're coming from out of state and the signature hasn't been signed by the township?
That's correct.
Yes.
The signature has not been signed by the township, it has only been signed by the applicant at this time and notarized by the applicant.
Right.
But the township created the document, it has Union Township, so the township did have it before 2 o'clock today. And enough time for them to sign it and notarize it June 10th. And I got it today.
I think Tractor Supply actually produced this document. It was not produced out of my office. I did not draft this document, and I don't believe anybody in my office did either.
I think Michael sent the document to them. They signed it and printed it out on June 10th, and then got to the township on around the 13th.
Okay.
I'm not aware.
Alrighty. Any other questions on this? Anybody want to look at any of the attachments or exhibits? Bobby, do you have a record of who motioned and who seconded? I can't remember.
Mr. Lawson motioned, Ms. Dare seconded.
Okay. Okay, any other discussion? Alrighty, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Trax?
Yes.
Ms. Dare?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. Pretty?
No, being I wasn't awarded the opportunity to review it in an adequate amount of time.
Okay, item number 18, approve deny purchasing salt from American Rock Salt at the 2022 pricing prior to the increase.
I make a motion to approve purchasing of salt to American Rock Salt at the 2022 pricing.
I'll second.
Okay, Supervisor Lawson motion, Track second to approve purchasing salt from the American Rock Salt at the 2022 pricing. Is there any discussions? Bobby, I know that this is standard operating procedure for you working with the road crew. Do you have any idea of how much we're purchasing so far for this year?
Last year they purchased 746 ton. Is that what the correct number was? That was last year. And they said by the end of July, the prices for this coming season will increase. So that's why we're trying to get this done and get what we can order so we can keep the 22 prices.
Is there any limit, or do you have an idea of how much?
Whatever we order, we have to take and pay for at least 60% of what we order.
Okay.
You pay for storage.
Right.
Or yeah, or else you pay for storage.
Okay. Alrighty. That
And
was
there
it.
is some room up there now, we could get it and store it up there now.
I would encourage you to pass on a note to Terry to encourage the road crew to blend 1B with that 1B stone. They're still not doing that. Save quite a bit of money.
Okay, is there any discussion on the salt? Any continued discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Pretty?
Yes.
Mr. Trax?
Yes.
Ms. Dare?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Item number 19, approve, deny resolution 13 of 2022, which outlines protocol for public comment periods in accordance with the Sunshine Act and the second-class township code. I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 13 of 2022. It outlines protocols for public comment periods in accordance with the Sunshine Act and the second-class township code. And the resolution, we have two of them. I would like to make the motion to have it be the resolution that requires a board vote prior to having to potentially remove someone for disorder.
Make a motion to second the resolution 13, protocol being that the board supervisors have to vote on removing somebody from the audience.
Lisa Dare motions and Lawson second. Discussion, please.
Anyone before I start? So I do have some comments about that. We as a board of supervisors do not get to define what a disruption is. On whatever we choose a disruption is. It also does, our decision does not give a roving commission for a police officer to enforce Robert's Rules of Order. We run these meetings by Robert's Rules of Order. We have no right to define as a board a person being disrupted versus a distraction. The police officer can only take them out based on the penal code, regardless of what we would decide. Also, for us to do it by board motion, our board would have to add to the agenda that evening to take somebody out of the meeting. We would then have to have a discussion, a vote, and then it would have to be added to the agenda to take that person out of the meeting. I personally do not define First Amendment rights as being de minimis in nature. Chances are that if by board action we decide to take someone out, that is a potential lawsuit. It's therefore not de minimis in nature, so there's no way to add it to the agenda the night of the meeting. The First Amendment ensures that a debate on public issues should be uninhibited, robust, and wide open. The difference, you can't define an average disruption, an average distraction as being a disruption. You have to ensure that all control measures are spread equally through the audience members, or you open yourself up to a potential litigation that one audience member that's taken out or asked to leave was treated differently than someone else that speaks on a side or a view of us that we like versus what we don't want to hear, which would open us up to litigation. That also a disruption could be applied to a board member as well as an audience member. When a board member makes abhorrent personal attacks or accusations from another board member or from a staff member towards a board member, when board members continue to return to points that they have already made at length, can be a disruption. When a board member continues to speak too long and causes extended, unduly repetitious discussion of irrelevance, I'm sorry, did you have something to say, Mr. Darren? I'm sorry, I was distracted. Did you have something? I thought you said something to me. Such conduct may interfere with the rights of other board members. So at what point do we define by board motion during a meeting that we're going to add to the agenda to take someone out of this room? That is the chairman of the board's responsibility to determine between a disruption or a distraction, and I am not willing as a board member to add that to an agenda the night of the meeting, because I do not find that to be de minimis in nature.
I'd like to add to that. I mean, the Robert's rules were wrote for a reason. I think the whole board should vote if they think it's disruptive. The audience, if they can't refrain themselves, something has to be done. I don't think we're initiating this to remove people. I think we're initiating it to conduct a decent meeting. I'm in all favor of the board totally voting if somebody's disruptive. And I think we need this. That's my opinion.
Is there a definition of disruption? I know that Robert's Rules of Order is the way we conduct these meetings. However, Robert's Rules of Order is not in the penal code. And if we use a police officer to escort someone out of here, that puts that police officer at risk of a lawsuit, the police department at a risk of a lawsuit, and this township at a risk of a lawsuit. And I don't find that de minimis in nature.
Sarah, do you have any comment on this resolution somehow overriding Robert's rules or working in conjunction with Robert's rules?
I think it works in conjunction with Robert's rules. This was pulled directly from PSAT's website. I know Terry, and she's not here to speak on it, pulled this directly from PSAT's website. I know it's very commonplace to limit a public comment to approximately 4 minutes. So I think that, it's something that we can definitely look into in regards to Supervisor Dupree's comments regarding the penal code. If you wish our office to look into this further, we would be more than happy to do so. But I know that if Terry was here to speak on it, she would say that this was pulled directly from PSATs.
Thank you so much. I myself called PSATs and I spoke in length with the Policy and Procedure Department. I have been talking to them for several weeks on concerns, being that I'm the chairperson, and I hear from residents routinely that the meetings are not under control, and people who listen to the meetings virtually are concerned that business doesn't start until maybe an hour, hour and a half at sometimes into the meeting. And for those reasons, I do think something needs to be put in place. And again, bolstering what Attorney Scott said, both of these resolutions came directly from PSATs on their recommendations. And as far as putting that, leaving the chairperson with that heavy weight of stopping a disruption alone, I agree with option B that specifies that it would have to be an entire board vote, and that's my opinion. Any other comments?
So my comment is, heavy is the crown of the chairperson. That is the chairperson's duty to decide and maintain the order of this meeting. And I do believe, in my opinion, that sometimes business doesn't happen for an hour because of various board members talking on irrelevant topics for reports that go way past the amount of time they should.
Okay, thank you very much. Alrighty, any more discussion? Okay, Bobby, approve, or motion to approve this, was that by myself? And who's second?
Your motion, Mr. Lawson, second.
Okay, any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Dupree?
No.
Mr. Trax?
Yes.
Ms. Dare?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Item 20, approve, deny, continuing to use Serums as the main EMS provider in Union Township, contingent upon mutually agreeable contract terms to be presented by Serums.
Make a motion to approve,
I'll second.
continuing to use serums, mutually agreed upon contract terms once they're presented.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Lawson, second by Trax. Any discussion?
I have a question on the wording on this motion changed from Friday to Monday. I wanted to ask whose suggestion it was for the wording to change.
That was mine. I wasn't up on my emails, and when I read that Ms. Gladys made this motion, And I saw in the emails that Ms. Dupree suggested to take the 9 communities out. I had called Bobby and asked her to please default back to what Ms. Gladys and Ms. Dupree talked about in the emails that I was late reading.
Okay, so on my Friday agenda, it is approve or deny Union Township's commitment to Serums as the township's primary EMS agency pending on receipt of a contract from Serums. Today, it is approve or deny continuing to use Serums as the main EMS provider contingent upon a mutually agreeable contract to be presented by Serums. It is, this has nothing to do with 9 communities, but when Terry had contacted me and emailed all of us through the week, I was on board to make a commitment to Serums. We're making a motion to do what we're doing. There's no action here. There's no action to continue to do what we're doing.
I'm sure that if you wanted to add, you could add, or add a contingency. I mean, that's up for definitely debate.
I would like to bring the motion back to what it was on Friday. At least it is making a commitment, it's making some sort of action. This is just to continue. So I would like to amend the motion back to the approve or deny Union Township's commitment to Serums as the township's primary EMS pending receipt of a contract from Serums.
I have a comment on that. I don't think we should be committed to anything until we see a contract, what it's going to be. We're clearly saying what our intentions are here. We're waiting for a contract for a solicitor to review. I see nothing wrong with that. You don't sign, you don't make a commitment without knowing the terms and the money.
But it says commitment pending receipt of a contract from Serums.
Correct.
Pending.
You don't want to do anything until you have the contract and you agree
That's what I'm
on
saying,
it.
that's what the original one on Friday was, pending receipt of a contract from Serums.
I want to just go on the record. I'm good with however it's put. I do believe that the contract needs to be looked at by both parties and should be mutually agreeable. That's my one consideration, but other than that, however it's worded, is fine by me. Other than I think the contract terms, when Serums are able to get it to Union Township, I know they're still working on it. I think the township needs an opportunity to look at it and have discussions here at the board table.
So what is
before executing? That's my only.
What is the action that this motion is doing?
It's showing the board's intent to work with them. There's been a lot of talk about it.
So-
Misunderstanding. This is our intent. We're waiting for the contract.
There's no action, there's nothing we're doing. It's, we're continuing.
I am fine if someone wants to amend that to say, continue to use CERM and a commitment, in addition to a commitment, I'd be fine with that. As far as the contract goes, I know that, I believe it was Ms. Dupree put the number 21 on here, and we're not there yet, but the contract terms should be looked at by both parties, specifically before a service fee is paid. And, that's
So
one.
point of order, we're not on 21 yet. Not on 21 yet. So what Mr. Lawson has just stated is, this went on the agenda just so that the public would stop bothering us.
I did not say that.
Kinda. You kinda did. You kinda said, just to show an intent, so you agree that this is making no motion, no movement, no action, no anything. This was put on the agenda to show the public our intention. What is our intention? You know, we'll show them our intention when we sign a contract. Until then, it shouldn't even have bothered been on any agenda. It's just to get the public off your back.
I am sorry, could you please repeat that again, Mr. Pring? I got a little confused on what you just said.
I said that we will show our intention when we sign a contract with someone. So that's what our intention is, when we sign a contract with someone. Then we intend to go with that person. But this is just a motion to continue doing what we're doing.
I'd like to go out of order. Mr. Medeiros, is there a contract ready?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have a time frame on the contract?
I would hope in the next 60 days.
Thank you very much. Mr. Lawson, could you repeat again your motion, or are you going with exactly what this says?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm satisfied with the wording that's on there. You have any comment on that, Sarah?
No, I mean, whatever you want to do, I think is beneficial. I mean, that's totally up to you all.
I would prefer to add, to unify this situation. I mean, if we need to add to a commitment, then that's fine. What do we need to add here, to be unified? I'm asking that question because I'm very confused. Does it have to say continuing to use CERMS as the main EMS provider in Union Township and a commitment contingent upon? I mean, what is it, Ms. Dupree, that you're looking for?
I'm looking for it. There's no reason for this to be on the agenda. It does nothing. There's no vote here. We're gonna continue doing what we're doing and then look at a contract at a later date. Well, that goes without, there's no motion. It shouldn't even have been on here. If this is what it was gonna say, it shouldn't have been on here. It wasn't my suggestion to put the first one on, but the first one had a movement. It had an action.
And that's what I'm asking. What movement are you looking for?
I wasn't looking for any. I wasn't the one that put it on the agenda. But
Okay.
I'm not voting on this one because it doesn't do anything.
Okay.
Other than calm the public down and say we're gonna do something later.
Okay, Mr. Lawson, did you motion? Sorry, Bobby again. Who motioned and who seconded?
Mr. Lawson motioned, Mr. Track
Trax,
second.
okay. Any more discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Lawson,
Yes.
Mr. Dupree,
No?
Mr. Trax.
Yes.
Ms. Dare.
Yes. Okay, item 21, approve deny payment to SARMS for March, April, and May of 2022. Amounts are $2,239.17 a month, or $6,717.51 for a total of 3 months.
I make a motion to approve. I'm sorry, I rescind what I just said. I make a motion to deny the payments for March, April, and May.
Why? Any seconds?
Why?
Why?
Excuse me, we haven't got to the discussion point. Is there any seconds? Okay, motion dies. Back on item 21, I would like to make a motion to table the SARMS payment, which would be, I'm sorry, excuse me, could you please? I'd like to make a motion to table the payment to SARMS for March, April, and May of 22, equaling $2,239.17 for a total of 3 months until the contract is issued from SARMS to the township for review. And also, I would like the same consideration to be given to Union Township as the other communities on making the full payment till the fall.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion by Dare, second by Lawson. Please, discussion?
I would like to point out that tabling it is making no difference in what he motioned to deny. There's no, he motioned to deny it, tabling it is pretty much doing the same thing. Now, you've changed the motion while you were making the motion to table. So you changed the motion during the tabling. You have to have discussion to change the motion. You're either gonna table the motion as it is, and then discussion to amend it. But you can't table a motion that isn't on the agenda. It can be amended, then tabled. But I would also like to point out that the contract, Mr. Madera, since she reached out to you before, is your contract going to have any wording in for months that have already passed?
I'm not aware of
I
that.
mean, yeah.
The only thing I can verify is we've said since day one that we didn't care when any
these-
municipality was able to pay.
These
It-
are
I'm
services
sorry,
that have
I
already
didn't
been
hear what
rendered.
Mr. Medeiros, I'm sorry, you were cut off.
No, the only thing I just wanted to verify was, we didn't specify when any municipal, organization needed to pay, just that it was paid by the end of the year. And we had, the monthly payment, I believe, was suggested by this board, so. That's all.
Thank you.
So you have received 2 months, monthly payments, if I recall, January, February.
Yes, to my knowledge, yes.
So, but these months, we've already been serviced or served by Sears during the months that are on the agenda. So I would like to point that out. And if,
I'd like to point out that none of the other communities have paid any.
that, it was this board's decision to go monthly. It's what they told them they would do. I know there's not a contract, but it's what they told them they would do. And those months have already passed, the service has already been given.
Sarah, as far as the motion, am I incorrect in the motion? Do I have to rescind anything?
No, if you wanted to make it contingent upon something, you are allowed to make a motion contingent upon something based upon your opinion or your beliefs. And you can make a motion to table something which will carry over to the next meeting. Denying is just straight denying, whereas tabling has the intent to carry over to the next meeting.
Denying has the ability to carry over to someone to put it back on an agenda the next meeting. So,
Correct, but
as I said,
tabling
it's the
is
same.
initially the intent to carry it over to the next meeting, whereas denying is strictly denying.
So, Bobby, and I'm so sorry to do this to you, I would like to rescind my motion to table this item. And I believe that Mr. Lawson seconded my,
I'll second it to rescind it.
okay.
Mr. Trax,
Yes.
Ms. Dare,
Yes.
Mr. Lawson,
Yes.
Ms. Dupree.
Yes.
Okay, item number 22.
Are we gonna go back to 21? I would like to make a motion to approve payment to Serums for March and April and May in the amounts of $2,239.17 a month, or $6,717.51 total for the 3 months.
Okay, any seconds? Alrighty, motion dies. Moving on to item 22. Approve, deny the addendum to the temporary easement agreement dated July 22nd, 2021 for the holding tank on the property located at 4042 Finley El Raymer Road, which outlines the tank closing and cleanup procedures.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the addendum to the temporary easement on 4042 Finley El Raymer Road.
I'll second.
Okay, Supervisor Lawson, motion. Supervisor Trax, second. Is there any discussion?
I'm looking for mine because I didn't get it until, after the board packets came out. I wanted to ask a question to Sarah Scott. So in this addendum, if I recall, it's in the packet. It says about going and, here it is. About putting in, having it engineered and putting in a stormwater drain on the property in question. I've never, and I don't know what the law is, but I have a problem with spending taxpayer money on a private property problem. I understand the current problem that's going on and that seems to be a public safety health issue.
That's correct.
But the addendum has to do with fixing a stormwater problem after that problem is fixed.
So for clarification purposes, I'm not an engineer, so I do not want to speak on the engineering portions of it. I will refer that to Mr. Odell. However, this is policy and procedure for cleanup of a holding tank pursuant to the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection. There are certain rules that every township has to follow according to the PADEP. You can't have raw sewage running off the property, which is the point why the holding tank is there. This is quite a standard agreement. It's simply to protect the township and to protect all the residents, property owners from hazardous sewage, hazardous waste.
So I understand that part, that was the original easement agreement.
Correct,
The
and that
addendum-
expired in July, is set to expire July of 2022.
But we're voting on the addendum.
Correct, which is on the cleanup procedures that are pursuant to the rules of the PADEP.
Okay, cause why wasn't that in the first one then?
It was in the first one, but there wasn't cleanup procedures because we were not sure when an end date was in mind. We're again not sure when an end date is in mind as well, as you are aware, however.
But this isn't a new easement agreement, this is a addendum to the original agreement.
Correct, and the original agreement will just go month to month when it's set to expire pursuant to however long the holding tank is necessary for public health and welfare and safety of the property.
So,
So it's not a brand new agreement, it's just some additional provisions that were already agreed upon before, some additional provisions that will be agreed upon for the future. So that the property can be cleaned up pursuant to DEP requirements.
so the problem I have partially is with number 7 on the agreement. The problem that I had has to do with okay, so I get keeping the French drain that's there. But having Harshman install another drain leading to the French drain that's there to collect stormwater and groundwater.
Sean, can you speak on this? Because I'm not an engineer and I don't know the policies and procedures behind stormwater and rerouting.
So, the way the property is currently set up, there's a French drain collecting the sewage. And that runs under a driveway that had to be ripped up and repaved, and then it goes to a holding tank. So the question is, what happens once there's no more sewage there? So the simplest to think about option is just remove everything the township put in. But then you need to tear up the driveway, you need to tear up the yard, you need to repave the driveway to make the property owner whole again. My understanding is the property owner was okay with basically abandoning the holding tank and just filling it up with stone, crushing the lid, and then basically what happens is you'd have a drain just in the ground. So basically it's just extending that drain to the low-laying area so it can French drain normal stormwater. So rather than take everything out and repave the driveway, it seemed to be a lot cheaper on the township's expense just to extend the drain 20 feet, 10 feet, whatever it is, so it can drain to the natural drainage course.
Okay. See, I wasn't a supervisor when the whole thing started. I was in the audience, but my concern is it is surchargeable to a supervisor if we are doing in excess work or something to a private property with public money. And that was my concern with I get that there was a public health and safety problem. Not saying anything about what was done already. But unless there's a public health and safety problem, or we are the ones putting the water there, we don't have a right to spend public funds to correct it. So I was just trying to make sure, and I'm not that privy to all the information, so that was my concern.
Supervisor Dupree, if I may add to, most temporary, permanent, any easement agreement states that all land shall be restored back to its original form, whether that be grass, whether that be seeds. Most easement agreements would agree that if the township messed up your property, they're required to fix it back to its original content. And I think that's the purpose here, is to make sure that this property is back to what better than what it was before, so that this property owner no longer has raw sewage on his property.
And this is just an addendum to the original.
Correct.
If that be the case, I don't know why it wasn't in the original.
I did not do the original agreement. I can't speak for anybody else. All I know is that the addendum is here to ensure that the property owner is satisfied and that all parties agree.
Sarah, do you feel confident that Ms. Dupree's statement that the board will be surcharged or could be surcharged based on?
I don't know that personally. That is something that I would definitely have to look into, so I can't give you an exact answer. I would be more than happy to look into that, but from my recollection, no. But again, that's not something that I know off the top of my head. That's not
So
something I've
Sweat
heard
Law has
before.
prepared this?
Correct.
Okay, with Harshman?
Correct.
So would you have prepared something and put it in front of the board that
No,
and
I would
advised
not.
us something that we could be surcharged?
No, I would not. My office would not have done that.
Are we trying to restore a property owner's land who lent us his property to mitigate raw sewage
That's correct.
on Finley El Ramo Road, which
That's
is
correct.
a public health crisis?
Correct.
Is it our obligation to restore the land?
It is our obligation as the township and as the person who was using the temporary easement. It is our obligation to restore the property back to its original content.
And, I just have one comment. Are we still in discussion period? Okay. We are, Bobby?
Yes.
Okay. Based on what was just stated, that could happen, another surcharge comment, it's the second we've heard in a couple of months from various people. I would be comfortable with adding a contingency on that motion that was made. And it would be to have Sweat Law Office check on the surcharge possibility. That be a contingency on this agreement. And obviously, if there's no problem, it goes forward. But if there is a problem with surchargeable, then
You can definitely add that. Again, my office would not have prepared something that I believe that it would be surcharged for. However, if that makes you feel more less comfortable.
well, this is the problem. I mean, we get comments on bills and engineering and legal bills specifically. And this is an area where if someone makes a statement like that and it purports that this board or whoever agrees with this motion could be surcharged. So then we're forced to ask you for more legal advice, and this is how bills keep accruing. But I don't know how you solve that problem.
I question the thought process of sweat law to make a easement agreement that needed an addendum. That would have cost more money. If it's the same thing, why wasn't all this stuff put in the original easement agreement? But that's what caused the question of mine. What's different, what's changing here? Why this wasn't, it's bringing Mr. Barnett back to whole and solving the public health crisis. What needed the addendum?
The agreement was silent on cleanup policies and procedures.
Which is more costly in the end to do two agreements than one. But that's what caused the question of mine of,
Rick,
I'd like to add a comment. We're talking about costs and cleanup. We put a holding tank in front of somebody's yard. We're very fortunate he agreed to do it. This township's very fortunate that we didn't get a DEP fine for raw sewage on the ground. We saved money by correcting this problem temporarily. We owe the resident to remove it, clean that place up 110% and do it the legal way with the engineering's advice, with sweat law office's advice. There should be no discussion. We should be very happy that he's going to agree that this tank deal is still going to be on his property probably for another 6 months. I'm very thankful for him that we were able to work with him. That's all I have to say.
I can only speculate when I know Mr. Lawson and Sean and Jamie, Dave, Eskin were all up at Mr. Barnes' property with him for days when the original construction happened. That emergency meeting we had, and when it was unearthed, the big pipe that was filled, compacted, all that you uncovered and dealt with, and I know there was an emergency easement agreement within those emergency meetings. I would speculate, and you can maybe add, that the board at the time, the people solving that emergency problem wasn't thinking on restoration. You were probably, your mind was in the immediate emergency. Could you speak to that, Sean? Was that something you were thinking?
Yeah, I mean, even to begin with, we didn't know what the issue exactly was that we were uncovering, so. I can't really recall. I remember everything was very fast when it was happening, the thought process put into the restoration, but I'd imagine if, at the time, the thought would be, well, let's put this in and then let's take it out and make the property whole again. And my understanding is the property owners are okay with this plan, and this plan is going to be cheaper than if we actually took everything back out and put his property back the way it was. The way it's going to be remediated is going to be to DEP standards, and it's going to cost the township a lot less than taking that tank out, filling the hole back in with dirt, chasing that storm line all the way, removing it, ripping up the driveway, repairing it on section of pipe and truckload of stone to fill the tank up and crush it, and it's going to be the cheaper option. So,
Okay.
Madam Chairman, you brought something to my attention. That project was shovel ready back then when we came up with the idea of putting that tank in Mr. Barnes. This project should be done right now. Had we not been fought in a lawsuit that the public complains about by Peters Creek stopping us from putting it in. This project should be totally done. And we're still fighting them to put it in to get sewage off the ground.
So, Attorney Scott, do you suggest that the board adds anything in there? Are you comfortable that we're not going to be surcharged? Would you have produced this addendum if you thought that we would be surcharged for it?
I would not have produced this addendum if you would be surcharged for it. I believe that it is our legal opinion of our office that we would have you approve the agreement as is and the motion.
Okay. Any other discussion on item 22? There was a motion by Lawson, second by Trax. No more discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Trax?
Yes.
Ms. Dare?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Ms. Dupree?
I'm gonna abstain just because I wasn't part of the initial, that were addendum, we have an addendum too, so, I'm gonna abstain.
Item 23, approve, deny Harshman CE Group to make recommendations on stop sign placements. I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, Dare motions, Trax second. Any discussion?
Was this placements of stop signs at the, couple of things on teams? It's vague, so is that in general all stop signs? Or is that to do with the couple that are on the stop sign complaint category on teams?
I could answer this. So Miss Gladys, in her project manager's report, you guys should have a letter dated June 22nd.
Yeah.
Basically, she had reached out to me, said there's a couple intersections she's been receiving complaints about. Residents think some stop signs would be helpful. She said, well, what's the protocol to have stop signs added? I sent her a couple PennDOT technical bulletins, I think should be in her report as well. Basically the process is you have to determine whether stop signs are warranted or not, so that's a study needs done. And then if stop signs are warranted and ordinance needs passed, so, I let her know what the protocol is, and then she put this on the agenda. The only areas, to answer your question, Supervisor Dupree, Fry Avenue and Lincoln Avenue.
Yeah, and that's what I want to know, if this particular motion has to do with those particular stop signs, or is it in general?
Yeah, that's
motion?
that's correct. Our understanding is Fry Avenue and Lincoln Avenue, College Street and Norman Avenue and Chevy Chase and McShane Road would be our scope of areas to take a look at. And if the board just wants us to look at one of those areas, 2 of them, or all 3, and whatever you guys want, just let me know, and we'll be happy to assist you guys in evaluating it.
Sean, for the public knowledge, can the township just go out and stick a stop sign in?
I mean, sure you could. Is that correct? No. I mean, any person out there can just stick the stop sign in the ground. But yeah, as the technical bulletin specifies, the correct protocol is you complete a warrant to determine whether a stop sign is applicable or not, and that and then you pass an ordinance, and that limits the township's liability of just sticking a stop sign anywhere you want, making sure it's done correct. The township does just stick a stop sign in the ground, there's a traffic accident, then they can sue the township because of that if you don't have the paperwork to back it up.
Thank you.
Okay, any more discussion? Alrighty, roll call vote, please, Bobby.
Ms. Dupree?
Yes.
Mr. Trax?
Yes.
Ms. Dare?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Item 24, approve deny payment application invoice 6093 from Slusar Excavating for the emergency work completed on the 2022 Patterson Road slide repair project. This payment amounts to $56,578.71.
I'll make a motion to approve Slusar Excavating $56,578.71 for the slide on Patterson Road.
I'll second.
Okay, Supervisor Lawson motions, Trax seconds for the payment app invoice 6093 for the amount of $56,578.71. for the emergency work on Patterson Road. Any discussion?
I may have a question for Sean. Are we able to negotiate any cost with the railroad? Or are they just gonna give us a bill? Can we call up and cry wolf and try to get them to help us?
We can see what they say.
I think we should. I think we should call them and
As far
thank them for their cooperation, but see if they can help us.
yeah, we don't know what that, at least I don't know what that invoice is. I don't know if it's been sent to the township yet from the railroad, but Bobby, it hasn't been sent yet. I can say the railroad was very easy to work with, which is not our typical experience with the railroad. They were understanding. Typically, they have emergency fees for this type of thing, which they said that they were waiving. So I think they've already shown some goodwill. But I mean, we could definitely ask them if they work with us any further once we get that invoice.
Okay. I think you ought to call them before you get the invoice. See if they'll help us. That's all I have.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Dupree?
Yes.
Mr. Trax?
Yes.
Ms. Dare?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Item 25, approve, deny David A. Eskin resignation of Union Township Supervisor Roadmaster.
I would like to make a motion to approve David A. Eskin's resignation as Union Township Supervisor and Roadmaster.
I will second that motion. Supervisor Dupree motioned and Dare seconded to approve Dave Eskin's resignation from Union Township. Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Ms. Dupree?
Yes.
Mr. Trax?
Yes.
Ms. Dare?
Yes. Item 26, approve, deny administrative staff overtime when necessary to keep current on requests of supervisors and/or the residents and/or project administrators.
I'd like to make a motion to table this until we can have an executive session about it. Being that it's personnel.
Okay, anybody second? Motion dies. Item 26, again, approve, deny administrative staff overtime when necessary to keep current on requests of supervisors and/or residents and/or project administrators.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Okay, Supervisor Lawson approves, Supervisor Trax second, to allow the administrative staff overtime when necessary to keep current on requests of supervisors, residents, or project administrators. I have a couple questions, Bob. This would apply, I'm thinking, just to you alone. Is this your request?
Mhm.
Okay, how long, or I know you don't do this very often, but I know you have a lot going on, believe me, I understand that. What are you looking for in a week? Like is this a weekly thing, or is this as an as-needed basis?
As a needed basis.
Okay,
Like this past week, I have been here on my own. I am so far behind right now with minutes, doing Terry's job, doing my job, plus the right to knows that have come in, that I cannot get the assistance of Ms. Scotway.
okay. So do you think you would not to exceed, are you looking for like an 8-hour shift, a 5-hour shift a week, or what are you looking?
Maybe 5 hours a week, and that's a meeting week.
Okay,
Point of order, that should have been a discussion item then, so that all that was laid out in the motion. I mean, it should have been a discussion item so that whatever terms you guys are talking about would have been in the motion.
Okay, so, thank you for, for answering the questions, Bobby. So board deliberation on this item, any thoughts?
Once again, I think that the deliberation about it should be done in executive session. However, this was put on the agenda on Friday, when Terry left here at 4:30 on Thursday. This was put on the very next day. We have added a lot of money in administrative category in the last year and a half. I don't, without it being spelled out of how much and when and what, like, I don't agree. Should just do it on a, whatever staff thinks it's necessary.
I wouldn't do it if I thought it was necessary. I would get the approval of the liaison between the board of supervisors and the staff. That is why some of the packet was missing, because I have been so overwhelmed this week.
So board, I don't think it would hurt to give Bobby the room in an emergency situation if she needed a few hours on a weekend or to stay at night to just get caught up. But it's, you know, it's maybe something that I don't think would hurt. I mean, that's my opinion.
Could you describe emergency?
Me?
Yeah, you said on an emergency.
Yes,
basis.
if a staff member is feeling overwhelmed and there's a deadline, if they needed to work a few hours extra, I don't think that would be a problem.
I don't see a problem.
Yeah, if we have the time cards, if it gets out of hand, we can
We send it.
change it.
I know there was something, I either saw it or I heard Bobby, there was something that your office requested this week. And I know Bobby worked on that a lot. And that came in right before the meeting. I thought you had to gather something for, I don't know even who, but,
I don't remember.
okay, so, board, yeah, I wouldn't mind giving the latitude to Ms. Singer, when she feels overwhelmed. I think, you know, we can check the time cards, and I think it would probably help if, we just got an email if you felt like you needed some overtime, just to get caught up. Okay, any other thoughts?
So I would like to point out that from Friday to Monday, there was 6 action items added to the agenda on Monday. Then the agenda changed once again on Tuesday afternoon. I think that it could be more efficiently done if the agendas and packets were done on Friday, minus a few emergency things, but the constant changing of the agenda past Friday, if that could contribute to her having to work a Saturday as just happened. Like I said, the agenda, the stuff from, the packet stuff from my agenda was not in there on Friday, although Terry left at 4:30 on Thursday. So we were backing up already by Friday. And then it changed continually to the point where I didn't get some of the information until this afternoon.
And I apologize for that, Ms.
I'm not,
McCray.
I'm not saying that, I'm saying it was stuff that was added to the agendas after Friday. There was, I don't know if that agreement should have come from Sweat's office, from Sean or Hirschman's office, but it is very hard to make decisions on information you don't have. And it has been continual. We have added Gary. I mean, that is a cost of this township of $100,000 this year. So that, you know, we've added Sarah Scott as a right-to-know officer at the end of 2020. We have Palermo, that is the accountant. How much more can we add? How much more can we add? There's got to be a better way for us to do this.
Yeah, it would be helpful if I didn't get right to know.
Okay, Bobby,
that require hours upon hours of things to do, full documents.
So I'd like to make
So there's a 30-day extension on right to notice, I believe?
I'd like to make a motion to rescind my motion to approve this overtime, and that's my motion.
One second.
Okay. Motion to rescind item 26, approving staff overtime, and motion by Derek Track, second. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
I have some discussion.
Okay, sure.
I think Bobby deserves it.
I think, you know, nobody, we have a time clock, Bobby's down here. What, nobody punching the clock, she's punching the clock, if she comes in and out, and she feels she needs to work, I mean, you gotta trust an employee with the time clock, trying to get everything done. I think we're making a mistake not letting her do that. We can monitor it. As far as stuff not being added on the agenda after Friday, you know, you can stop a lot of progress. I don't see things that are wrong with that. I mean, occasionally I guess it is a real punishment to read it, but I think we're making a mistake. Not giving her the choice to work the hours to handle the load. That's my opinion.
I second that motion only to give the discussion, because I agree with everything Rick's saying there. I mean, she's overloaded now, and I understand there's some supervisors who don't understand the amount she does.
Point of order, do you know what other supervisors understand, Mr. Trax?
No, I don't.
Okay.
And if she needs to work a couple days over, or a couple hours over, I should say, that's fine. Like Rick said, we can monitor it.
If the board would allow me, the reason I wanted to rescind this is I want the opportunity to talk with Bobby, and I'm the, you know, as the point of contact with the office, and go over the handbook together with Bobby, and come back to the board with a discussion at the next meeting, if that's adequate for.
I can understand that.
I would like for the record that I wanted to have this in executive session. These are things that we should have deliberated about in executive session. And I want it for the record that I have continually offered to help with my services. I offered to help with meeting minutes. I offered to call Waste Management directly. I've offered to, is there anything that I can help you with? But one of my problems with the meeting minutes, it shouldn't be taking them 6 hours to make meeting minutes. They're too long. It should be action items, motions, roll calls. It's 18, 19 pages for a meeting. There has to be a more efficient way to run the office. Not that that is Bobby's fault. There just has to be the requirements that maybe she's asked to do, and the changes to the agenda past Friday that aren't absolutely necessary.
Okay, any more discussion before roll call on rescinding the motion? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Trax?
Yes.
Ms. Dare?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Ms. Dupree?
Yes.
Alrighty, item number 27, approved denied purchase of a 30 by 50 tarp for the Nike site building. Roof is leaking a small amount, and the cost was estimated at $693.
Make a motion to approve the purchase of a 30 by 50 tarp for a Nike State building. Roof is leaking, small amount. Do we have, Sean, you may know, do we have pictures on how much a small amount is? Is it gonna ruin the salt, or is it, can we get by?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not aware of this
It is
topic.
I'm sorry, Sean. It is the block building in the back, and all they keep is like the recycle bins and stuff in there.
Okay,
This is the building they got a quote on last year, I think, or the end of the year before. It was almost $30,000 to
put the
replace
roof
the
on.
roof.
yeah.
So Albert said, with the tarp, it will do the job for the next couple of years.
Gotcha.
are we still in discussion?
Well, we have an approval from Mr. Trax, and there was no second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought-
That's okay.
I'll second it.
I'm sorry.
That's fine, oh, it's fine.
Um,
So Trax approved, or made a motion to approve, Lawson seconded, and discussion, please.
So is this something that could have just been out of the budget and not have to been on the agenda tonight? Because this was one of the items that was added to the agenda. Is this something that could have just been out of the road crew's budget or?
Well, it's not
department
following
budget?
the purchasing manual.
It's over $500. That's
Okay.
why it's on there.
Oh, this was one of the items that changed the agenda.
And I just got the quote in on Monday for
And I
this.
get it, but that's probably something that could have waited till the next meeting. Rather than making Bobby change the agenda item.
My concern with the $700 tarp is how they're gonna secure the tarp. Is the wind gonna blow it away? Is the roof, flat enough that when you put the tarp on, it's not gonna cut it? The road crew's really gotta make sure that it's mounted correctly. I would like to see somebody get up on the roof and see if they can just patch it with some tar and stuff, but if he needs a tarp, he needs a tarp.
Bobby, question, did Albert bring this to you Monday, this quote?
I had asked for some recycle bins, and he said that they were in the garage right now drying out because I guess the way they were sitting, the water was coming through and they were all wet in there. So he had them drying out in the garage.
Okay. And Albert got the quote?
Yes, he
Okay.
called that over in Bentonville.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, any more discussion on that? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Trax,
yes.
Ms. Dare,
Abstain due to the fact that I would like a chance to look at the building and see the leak.
Mr. Lawson,
Yes.
Ms. Dupree.
Yeah.
Okay, item number 28. Approve, deny execution of DEP's NPDES application for individual permit to discharge sewage effluent from minor sewage facilities in general information form as prepared by Harshman CE Group in order to submit the Part 1 permit application for the wastewater treatment facility located along Garvin Road to service the Mingo sewage project.
I'll make a motion to approve the execution of the DEP and PDS permit for Garvin Road Mingo Sewage Project.
I'll second that.
Lawson motion, Track second. Any discussion?
So there's just one Mingo sewage, right?
Yeah, it's the.
I was looking at the bill pays today and I noticed in the category of Mingo sewage, Parchment has $204,430 into that project. I'm just concerned, I don't know enough about, like, this is at least a couple of years you've been working on it. I've never seen anything about it, so.
Sure, yeah, there's a lot of history with
A lot
the
of
issues
history.
there. I've been doing my absolute best to stick to submitting anything to the agenda by Friday. The reason I had number 28 and 29 added is just due to the consent order, and one of my engineers told me, hey, I'm ready to submit this, I need some township signatures on these forms, and a $500 check. So.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm against it, I'm saying that I don't know anything about it, so.
Yeah, so what the Part 1 permit is that's the official permit you send to DEP where they let you know what your sewage effluent limits are gonna be for wastewater treatment facility. Then once you got that done, you gotta go through get the Part 2 permit, which is actually how the sewage facility is gonna be. There's a handful of permits associated with this since the township's gonna be installing a treatment facility, but yeah, just due to my engineer saying that this is ready to go, and I need these signed. That's why I got them on the agenda a bit later, and I made sure to copy all you on the email too. That way you'd be able to see the attachments.
Maybe I'll just stop down next week and
Yeah,
you can brief me through the project. Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Creed?
Abstain?
Mr. Trax?
Yes.
Ms. Dare?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Number 29, approve deny $500 application fee payable to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania for the Mingo Sewer Project Part 1 permit. I'd like to make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion to approve the $500 application fee for Mingo Sewage Project Part 1 permit.
Dare motions, Lawson second. Discussion, please. Roll call vote.
Mr. Creed?
Abstain?
Mr. Trax?
Yes.
Ms. Dare?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Item 30, approve deny beginning process of closing key bank account and consolidating funds into Brentwood Bank El Rama sewage account. Process will be changing the ACH instructions for Penvest loan from Key Bank to Brentwood Bank and then closing the account. I'd like to make a motion to approve beginning this process of closing the Key Bank account and consolidating the funds into the Brentwood Bank El Rama sewage account.
I'll second.
Dare motions, Track second. Any discussion?
So this is going into a separate account at Brentwood.
No, there's already an RMO account open there.
So, I talked to KeyBank and I tracked the account back. So the account at KeyBank was originally opened up in the 70s. It was, I don't know why it's called the El Rama sewage account, but it technically at the time was for potable water on El Rama Road and throughout the community. So it was a capital fund for water lines. Apparently, at the time, Pennsylvania American Water would give the township back money for every tap that was produced from the running of the lines to allow the township to continue putting in more and more water lines. So, I have a concern. I was shocked when she told me that the account was opened up through the history of Key Bank and Equitable Integra. But I do have a concern with that being the case. I was shocked that it was in the 70s that account was opened up. I don't know if any of the old board members remember such an account or anything, but
And the old board members what?
well, I don't want to hold up the meeting, but maybe during public comment, if you guys remember having an account set up in the late 70s for
Absolutely,
water.
and not only an account, it was a sinking fund. And there are restrictions on sinking funds and how that money can be used and administered. Once that fund is established, you just can't willy-nilly start throwing money around between and among accounts out of a sinking account.
Okay, any other discussion of the board? Bobby, you spoke with Mr. Palermo about this. You
Yes, I
spoke with the
did.
Penvest.
And he was fine with it, but we have to do the ACH instructions to the other account and remove Key Bank.
Okay, and this, will this make your transactions easier when you're handling?
Well, it'll be easier because it'll be one less account that has to be reconciled, and we have to pay to have reconciled. We don't do anything with the account. We do not write checks or anything out of it.
Okay.
It just sits there.
Okay. Alrighty, any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. Creed?
No.
Mr. Trax?
Yes.
Ms. Dare?
Yes. Item 31, discuss waste management 5-year extension to contract. So upon supervisor's request to Ms. Singer, she has coordinated with waste management, and everyone got information and updated prices on recycling. So that's up for discussion.
reading this for the, second time around, or you get 2 pickups, about 3 something more. That's every resident in the township?
There is, the first option was once a month recycling pickup. The second option is twice a month. The difference between that is $3.67 for the first year.
Question, Bobby, if the board would, go with not the extra recycling, does the board have the option to upgrade that at any
At
point?
any point within, 6 months, a year, year and a half, we can always switch from once a month to twice a month.
Okay.
Also, it'll entail new bins, right?
Pardon me?
This program, they're
The
trading over.
recycle bins, no.
Both stay the
Recycle
same?
bins stay the same. It's the trash that we go from bags and whatnot to the carts. And that'll be in either October or January when they get the carts here and distribute them.
I know the cart ones are a little bit bigger too. Cart cans.
I was a little bit concerned with the increased costs for the additional recycling pickup. I don't know if anybody else looked at that or had concerns.
I didn't necessarily have concerns, but I have talked to a few people. I mean, there are, a lot of elderly in our community that don't need a lot of recycling. I was kind of shocked because the consensus in the audience members in this room were all for twice a month. But, unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be the town's consensus. It seems to be that about 70% of the people I've spoke to once a month. Although, probably not gonna make a few people in this room that have spoken for twice a month happy.
So, I did some checking around as well to people I'm in regular contact with, and, I'm getting 100% negative feedback to a second recycling. Even though it's $3 to $4 charge per household, if there's a small amount of people that want a second recycling, it is going to upcharge everybody in the community $3 to $4 a month.
$3.67.
So, if you look at the number of homes, we have over 2,000 homes on the waste management contract, so, that's quite a bit of money. It's like in the $8,000 range, and per household, people are going to be paying $50 more in their bill a year, and that might not seem like a ton of money, but to people on fixed incomes and concerned with rising costs of everything, I'm concerned about that second pickup myself.
Can I say something?
Sure.
There's also a program with waste management for senior citizens. If you're not aware of it, I have a name and contact number for 2 people at Waste Management. You can call to find out what the requirements are. But there is a senior citizen program that is lower than what our age people would use.
Thank
I'm
you,
trying to be
Bob.
polite,
It's
Bernie.
a 10% discount.
Thank you, Bob. Alrighty, any other discussion regarding the 5-year extension contract for waste management? Okay, 32, approve, deny waste management 5-year extension contract. I'd like to make a motion to approve the waste management 5-year extension contract with the condition that it stays without the extra recycling, until we maybe have a time to speak further with, more residents on what their wishes are in that regard, and so, okay, it's option 1.
I'll second option one time a month pickup.
Okay, Dare motion, Lawson second, deliberation, please. Okay, roll call vote?
Mr. Trax?
Yes.
Ms. Dare?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Ms. Dupree?
Yes.
Item E, discussion items. Number 1, discuss solicitation rules and regulations. Bobby and Terry pulled this from the township servers and put it in our packets. There's been an increased interest in solicitation in the township. There's individuals coming into the township and asking for this application, and it caused Bobby and Terry to pull out what they found in the files had been used in the past, and they thought it would be a good idea for the board to look it over and make some recommendations on it, being that it's the year 2022. So my comments are, it looked a little overreaching. I don't know all about the fingerprints and all that stuff, but again,
Well, that would be on request. I had one resident call me, a young lady had come in to get a permit. I gave it to her. The next day, a resident called me. First of all, there were 2 people going around, and they were knocking on her door at 9:30 at night. So there's gotta be some restrictions as to what time they're allowed to do this, like from 9 to 6 or whatever the case may be. Because I don't need the older residents getting scared with somebody knocking on their door at 9:30 at night. And if there's a problem and they're after a certain time, then they need to call the police. And they need to produce their permit, and they know that they're done at 6 o'clock. Just so the acknowledgement sheet was just so they can acknowledge what the rules are, what they're allowed to do and not allowed to do.
Bobby, did Terry run this through PSAPs and get any?
I don't know.
Okay. That would be my suggestion, to try PSAPs and see what's standard, and to take a look at that and see if there's any updated language or anything we're missing, in today's date, and maybe get it back in front of the supervisors, possibly at the next meeting. That's just my thoughts and suggestions. Any other comments?
No, not for me. That'd probably be good on, kind of new subject for me.
Okay, are we safe to move on? Item 2, discuss advertising township vacancies in the Observer Reporter. This was brought up. Is the board interested in doing that?
We have it on Facebook now, never on server report is so expensive.
That'd be my only concern, because why spend the money for it?
I think it's expensive to advertise.
Any other thoughts for the staff, supervisors? Okay, everybody ready to move on? Item F, bill pay list approvals. Item number 1, approved denied payroll dated June 10, 2022 in the amount of $12,633.22 for 2 administration, 3 road crew, and 1 intern. I'd like to make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Dare motion, Track second. Any discussion? I have a quick discussion. Bobby, did you come in for overtime this past Saturday?
No.
Okay, thank you. Alrighty, roll call please.
Mr. Trax?
Yes.
Ms. Dare?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Ms. Dupree?
Yes.
Item 2, approved denied bill pay list for the Brentwood Bank general account in the amount of $95,624.67.
I'll make a motion to approve the bill pay list Brentwood Bank General Account $95,624.67.
I'll second.
Okay, Lawson motioned, Track second. Any discussion? Okay, roll call please.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Ms. Dupree?
No.
Mr. Trax?
Yes.
Ms. Dare?
Yes. Item 3, approved denied bill pay list for the Brentwood Bank El Ramos sewage account in the amount of $6,644.75. I'd like to make a motion to approve the bill pay list for Brentwood Bank Alrama Sewage.
I'll second the El Rima sewage account for $6,644.75.
Okay. So Dare motion, Lawson second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Cree?
No.
Mr. Trax?
Yes.
Ms. Dare?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Item 4, approve deny bill pay list for the Brentwood Overlook Sewer account in the amount of $1,426.55.
Make a motion to approve the bill pay list for Brentwood Overlook sewage account, $1,426.55.
Second.
Lawson motion, Track second. Any discussion on the Brentwood Overlook Sewer account payments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Cree?
No.
Mr. Trax?
Yes.
Ms. Dare?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
G, correspondence. Any correspondence is in our packet. I don't have anything here to read off unless anybody else does. And H, public comments.
Thank you. Janet Montensboro, 69 Condit Lane. I just have a couple of comments. I do agree.
Janet.
Sorry. I do agree with Kevin Dare that 4 minutes is enough time, so I'm going to try to stick to that as well. Thank you. I always have a problem. And I also
It
think
goes off if you don't use it.
The air conditioner makes it go off.
No, it just automatically shuts on like a coffee pot.
Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you. Okay, can you? Yeah. Right. I do think that 4 minutes is enough time, so I'm going to try to stick to that. I also feel that the wording of what's disruptive, in my opinion, I like words, I like things to be kind of dissected and spelled out. I think for the audience, it would be good for us to know what's considered disruptive. It doesn't have to be tonight, but at some point when you're tossing that around to sort of agree on that and vote on it. I agree there needs to be order. Things get out of hand in here very easily. On that note, if this room was sitting on a fulcrum, I feel like every time there's a motion that Mr. Cree wants to make, all of the weight would be coming in this direction because nobody on this side of the room ever wants to comment or make any kind of a vote when Mr. Cree brings something up. But I'm a little, it's just, it's disheartening. She brings up some good points. And trust me, if any of you brought up points that were different from hers, I'd be feeling the same way if I agreed with what you were saying. She's not a bad person. She's here to try to make a difference. And in my opinion, I think some things should be considered as opposed to just letting it ride. There's nothing wrong with being first. So following what all the other townships are doing with not paying serums doesn't have to be the way it goes, right? We can be first. Let's be first and actually do it instead of following everybody else's lead because that's what they're doing. We tell our kids not to do that, right? If your kid's friend's gonna jump off a bridge, would you jump off a bridge? Just pay the thing. People up here have businesses. You all have a business. Well, I don't know about Mrs. Dara, but you've got contractors waiting for their money. They're gonna keep calling you and hounding you and calling you and hounding you. They wanna be paid. These guys are out here saving lives. They're not offering you, a piece of produce, something, and I'm not picking on you, I'm just saying in general, products that you can go out and buy. These are lives. So just pay the $6,000, I circled it, $717.51. When you right away approve to pay I'm sorry, I lost my place here.
Just to correct you, it was 6,717.
What did I say?
You said 717.
Oh, no.
I know you
Thank
didn't
you.
but
No, thanks. Okay, so the $56,578.71 that was immediately agreed upon to pay Susarchik. There's a difference of, I use my calculator, $49,861.20 over what Serums is asking to be paid. I just wanted to point that out to you that $49,000 over, above and beyond what they want to get paid was already agreed upon. That check is going out. So that's my other comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next public comment?
3 minutes, 33 seconds.
Linda Evans-Boren, 22 Parkview Drive. Thank you for the opportunity to speak once again. And I agree, we can do this in 4 minutes. So, my public comment is, I'm kind of perplexed. So, we feel that $3.67 a month is a lot to ask from our residents. We feel that advertising vacancies in the Observer Reporter is costly. But there's $27,000 on this bill going to Harshman CE Group. We pay an attorney $140 an hour to do right to knows. We pay, on this bill, Palermo Kissinger $3,906 for April and May. We've never had a secretary / we never had a treasurer that did not do the job that we're paying Palermo Kissinger to do. And I agree with Bernie Spear, total waste of our tax money. We need a treasurer that can do their job and fill the job description. And it's no reflection on anyone. That's just what everyone does, and that is the way it's done. And it makes fiscal sense to use taxpayers' money with people that are qualified to do the job. And it's no personal to anyone. It's about the bottom line, our taxpayers' money. You know, I have bill pay after bill pay here, which there's no discussion about paying bills. Let me see. Attorneys, Gallagher, Giancola, $39,641. Gallagher, Giancola, $1,192. Gallagher, Giancola, $9,592. Gallagher, Giancola, $3,050. Gallagher, Giancola, $13,555. And it's over and over. I can go on here over and over. You know, Palermo Kissinger, the accountants, $6,071. We've got $100,000 going to our administration. Why are we paying him to do that? You know, Porter Wright Morris, $85,022.62. That's an attorney firm. That's outside of sweat law. That's on top of the $838,000 that has gone to them. I just find it ironic that we're talking about $3.67 being a burden to people. And yes, it is. But this is a burden to people. This is our tax dollars. This should be going for things that are real and tangible. What are we getting for this? What are we getting for this? But yet, serums, and I said it at the beginning, I called it. You weren't going to pay them. You weren't going to pay them. You want people to stop calling, emailing, and signing the petition. You want people to stop coming to the meeting and watching the meeting. And that's not going to happen. Because we want the best EMS service possible. And yes, you'll review this contract. You'll be reviewing it 6-8 months from now, and it won't be signed. And it will be picked apart when all the other 9 communities will agree to it. That's a guarantee. We'll watch and see it happen. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. Any other
Charlie,
comments?
yes, ma'am. I'd like to make some observations. Larry Spore, 181 McChain Road, Finleyville, PA, Union Township. And this is in relation to the comments I had at the last meeting, wherein I was told that Mr. Palermo was going to be here this evening, and I could address Mr. Palermo with the questions that I
Can you
have.
speak up, Larry? The microphone went off again.
Yeah, this microphone's always going on. To address Mr. Palermo about some of the financial questions that I have concerning this township. And it's been ongoing. When are people going to wake up in this township? When? Whip, at the last meeting, I asked some questions concerning when we learned Mr. Sweat sends notice on a stick-up note down to his township with invoices from a legal group, Kathy Gallagher being owed quite a sum of money from last year that weren't paid. Invoices that weren't paid. Now she's asking for her money. And we heard and have another example just enunciated here tonight about the water sinking fund, which I addressed a few meetings ago and heard repetitively over the months and multiple years. All the time, the prior board, when there was a problem that arose that seemed insurmountable or unfairly presented to new members of the board, the prior board, the prior board, the prior board. Well, the prior board set up that sinking fund back in the mid-70s to extend water lines throughout this township, which we did. And they also recounted, you can talk about your sewer projects, so-called Phillyville El Rama Road, Garvin Road, which couldn't have even been thought to be undertaken if those water lines weren't present and extended by the prior board 25 years ago. And moving forward to the mid to early 90s when those projects were completed. And I'm going to warn this board, you take that, it seemed rather haphazardly the way you voted. You took that water sinking money, evidently where there was still a balance, to transfer it who knows where, into some other fund, some other accounts. Without proper legal process, that is absolutely illegal. I saw an entire board of supervisors removed from their seats by the Court of Common Pleas in North Strabane Township in the mid-1980s. Mr. Parrish is well aware of it.
Right.
In part, because they were taking money out of accounts, out of sinking funds, transferring it all around among and within other accounts in that township, until the Secretary Treasurer at that time was so distraught because of the problems, legal problems that had arisen, she went home one afternoon and committed suicide.
Oh my God.
That's how serious it is.
That was true.
And I'm going to warn this board, if that money is being taken without legal, 4 minutes, without proper legal process, yeah, you're going to hear from us. Thank you, ma'am, and thanks for the extra time.
Hi, Kevin Dare, 6187 Route 88. Just a couple things. I don't think I'll be yelling like that or beating on the podium.
Well, the mic went out, and I had to speak louder, and some of the folks back there said they couldn't hear me. So there.
Can we tell the audience that
I'm not the chairman.
She was a little distraught when she stepped up.
Okay. Well, I won't be, if you could tell him, please, when I'm at the podium giving my public comment, that
I think he understands.
it's my time. Okay. Number one, Robert's Rules was discussed here tonight. And there were several votes of no's with an explanation on why. And that is improper under Robert's Rules. Robert's Rule says when a roll call vote is taken, you give a yes, a no, or abstain and give your reason why you are abstaining. That did not happen on a couple of the votes here tonight. Definitions on disrupting and the such. Everyone in here is an adult. We know what disruptions are. We know about that. And if the board votes to have somebody removed for disruptions, then if they don't want to go, I'm quite sure that the police, when they are called to remove those people, have training. I know they have training. They have to go through a police academy. They are able to recognize what is a violation, what is not a violation. They can make their own mind up. They do it every day out here. And we have a very competent police department in Monongahela Police. I'm sure that they can make up their minds on what is a violation and what is not a violation. It sounded like the majority of the board is attempting to continue using serums and continue that relationship. But it seemed like Ms. Dupree was not in agreement with that. I believe that, getting a contract in and reviewing the contract, by tonight, you're continuing to use serums, but you're saying, hey, I want to see what the contract is. I want to review the contract. That's reasonable. Every business in America, it runs off of contracts. I think that's pretty reasonable for this board to continue using serums and contingent on the contract that's going to be brought to this board. But it sounded like Ms. Dupree was not in agreement with continuing that relationship. And I have no idea why, based on the prior meetings. It's bizarre. The next thing is, agendas are going to change. This township, as it does business from Friday to Monday to Tuesday to Wednesday, things are going to change. There's business being conducted. It's not unreasonable for agendas to change. Only after 24 hours can they not change. It sounds like everyone gets their information all together. So, some of the board has no problems getting this information, digesting it, and making the best.
Excuse me, I'm the one that's gonna take the minutes, and it's difficult enough. Please quit the chatter.
Shut up, Mom. That was you.
And it's, the board gets the information in all at the same time. It sounds like that is happening through the meetings that I've attended. It sounds like everyone's getting their stuff at the same time. So some are able to do it, why can't I? Thank you.
Kevin, I apologize for interrupting you.
Okay.
Any other public comments? Okay, any other board remarks?
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Maureen.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to address.
Would you mind your name and
Oh,
address?
sorry. Maureen Knott, 510 Loxley Court. I just want to address an item that was brought up during last meeting, which I was unable to attend. And I'm really sorry I wasn't here because something was brought up about the school district, and anybody who doesn't know, I'm on the school board at Ringgold. So I wanted to address that item. It was regarding safety in the schools. It was a good question, and especially given the recent events that have occurred, people are very concerned about what's going on in the schools, and I can understand that. And I'm happy to address that item. So anyway, I want everyone to know that we take safety at Ringgold very, very seriously. And for a good 10 years, like since Sandy Hook, we've had our own police department there. And we have a chief of police that runs that department. We have several safety features in place. I won't describe them all, but I will tell you the main items that most people care about. There's single point of entry at all schools. There's a police officer at every building. The other doors than the main entrance where we have the officer, they're able to monitor the people coming in and out of the schools, are kept locked at all times. We have keys available to all emergency personnel that might want to come in if there was an emergency situation. They can get in the building. And we are creating like a mobile command vehicle. So should any emergency occur in that vehicle, any emergency responding personnel would have access to the cameras in the classrooms so that they can see what's going on. In addition, each classroom is outfitted with a door jamb to lock intruders out and emergency equipment in the room as well. So, okay, just
Thank
want to let
you.
everybody know, and we're looking at anything else, lessons learned that we could, so
Thank you.
make things more secure.
Thank you.
Okay?
Any other public comment? Remarks from supervisors or staff?
I have a couple remarks. So, I want to point out the fact that Michelle Dupree made a motion to pay Serums their 3 monthly payments that we owe them, and it wasn't seconded. I would also like to point out that the contract for waste management was given to me today. So I'm sure that we didn't have Mr. Sweat or anybody, check it out like we're gonna Serums. Now, we decided to vote for that contract without, having our solicitor check to make sure it's mutually agreeable. And I would also like to point out that the cost of recycling twice a week is $1.30 less than what Serums is asking to save your lives. I would like to point that out, that recycling twice a week is only $1.30 less than what Serums is asking for. So I would just like to state that for the record.
Any other comments?
Yes, I have a comment. My comment first is, this board's never said we're not paying Serums.
You did today.
I had heard a resident say, we made a decision on the Solarcy excavation,
To approve it.
fix the road slide like that.
You approved it like that, is what I said.
29 pages is why we paid it.
I didn't say we
29
paid
pages
it.
of backup, excuse me, I'm speaking,
I'm sorry.
is why we paid it. We never said we weren't gonna pay Serums. We said we wanted to review the contract. And I'm sure by the time I get home, there'll be stuff on Facebook that says the opposite. Mr. Spar,
That wasn't my comment.
I'm tired of you threatening this place. Do something about it if you
I
think
will-
we're doing
Boston,
illegal.
I
I'm
will do
talking.
something about
I'm
it.
talking.
Yeah, and I'm talking to.
Well, I don't want to hear you
And
talk.
I'm
I didn't
talking
interrupt
to
you. I'm tired of you here
How
threatening this
many
board that we're doing
times
something
have
wrong.
we asked for the financial records or information from whoever's doing the books now?
This is why we need
Mr.
Robert's
Crum,
rules.
We can never get it.
Maybe
Okay,
boards should call people out in the audience and say, do something about it. That
You did it.
entices the audience to
You
do
did
what
it.
they're doing.
Okay, Mr. Lawson.
Correct my
I'm-
comment. Can I just correct, I want to correct my comment. What I said was that it was, you right away approved to pay them. I didn't say you paid them. There's a difference. I said that the idea, because it felt like when she made the motion, nobody said anything. It didn't get even discussed. Yours, right away, everybody approved to pay it. So, well, Michelle didn't, but the rest
Do you
of
have
you.
any ideas how much time I spent up here on that slide?
On what?
Verifying what they're doing?
I'm not saying you shouldn't pay it. I'm saying, I don't,
Imagine how much time I had in this
No.
office verifying. I knew what I was
No.
gonna do.
I'm saying that 3 months, how many months that they're asking to be paid, that's the discussion. It shouldn't have taken a discussion, in my opinion. You're right.
Was it more or less time than Serums spent with you
It's-
a couple meetings ago?
Yeah. They were two different things, thank you.
Okay, any other public comment? I don't want to cut anybody short. I know we closed public comment, but just to be, okay, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call, let's vote.
Ms. Blair?
Yes.
Ms. Dupree?
Yeah.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. Travis?
Larry, what do you say?
I'll
Okay. Taylor? All got it.
How you doing?
He called you out there. I'll bring you.
talk about it.
You're right, maybe, what did you get? They don't answer. No, they don't. Nobody ever answered. And I gave one to my neighbor, and he has to get it like, this and this well, but I need that. That's right.